Good morning and welcome to the regular meeting of the Town of Bethlehem Industrial Development Agency. It's just past 8 o'clock on Wednesday, September 10th, 2025. We have a quorum and a fairly heavy agenda this morning, so we are going to readjust the order of business so that we can present everything for which the board is asked to vote prior to going through some of our more routine tasks. And therefore, the first thing I'm going to do is the call to order and roll call. We will introduce ourselves going around the room. I'm Victoria Storrs, Chair of the IDA.
Victor Franco, board member.
Georgette Stephens Altamari, board member.
Al Michaels, CFO.
Matt Moses with Barclay Damon, representing the applicant.
Good morning, John McPhillips, representing the Bethlehem Central School District.
Chris Welch, Vice Chair.
Brian Connor, Town of Bethlehem, staff to the IDA.
Catherine Hedgeman, Agency Counsel and Executive Director.
Richard Cotwell, Board Member Treasurer.
Okay. Thank you all. We have 5 members present this morning. That constitutes a quorum. And we will therefore conduct our ordinary business. As I said, we will still move a little more quickly through the agenda and begin with a combination of item number 3, our financial report, and then move to item number 6, approval of the 2026 budget, which is one of the most important things for us to do. I note that we have a 6th member, Joaquin Hoke, has arrived this morning and is pulling up a chair. This is terrific. Thank you so much. For anyone who is not actually living in the town of Bethlehem, I would note that this is the first meeting that we have during which the school buses are running again. And some of the school bus schedules, as they do, change. It has been a little bit challenging.
On behalf of the district, I apologize.
It's all your fault. Well, truly, I have no complaints about the new school bus schedule. My neighbor's second grader is now getting picked up right in front of her door in a much safer location, and I'm glad that the district paid attention to that. So we have a quorum, and we're going to move on to the financial report and then the budget. So, Al?
Okay, the financial report, you have the financial statement in front of you through August 31, 2025. Our statement of net assets, our total cash accounts are $1,870,480.64. We also have prepaid expenses of $1,750, giving us total assets of $1,872,230.64. Our liabilities, we have accrued expenses of $14,583.32, leaving us with net assets of $1,857,647.32. Statement of revenue expenses, fee income year to date is $181,137.98. Expenses, our contractual expenses are $109,397.54. Business and economic development expenses, $41,425.77. Giving us total expenses of $150,823.31. Net ordinary income of $30,314.67. Add in interest income of $27,909.41. Gives us net of $58,224.08. We compare actual to budget. You can see we're behind budget on our income items. We know the reasons why. We haven't closed the project, and the PSEG shifted earlier in the year in a mostly positive way. On the expense side, contractual expenses, we're under what we budgeted at year to date, and business and economic development is also under, but that's just the timing, some of it of when projects are going to be completed and certain things. I'm sure the expenses will get a little closer to budget. But, and our interest income is a little lower than we budgeted. The interest rates have gone down a little bit, and we're still making a lot more interest than we did 5 or 6 years ago, so it's not the worst in the world. So our net income is higher than we budgeted for this point year to date. Are there any questions?
Just Al, on our interest income, are we down or we're just not fully approved?
Well, we're not. I don't accrue as ones come in. So there's still a good sized one with KeyBank that's going to come in October, I think, or early November, and I have to look at the M&T when that matures. But it'll end up being a little bit down.
Mhm.
Because the rates went from the 4s and mid-range 4s to the high 3s and low 4s. But for all those years when I used to budget $1,200 and get giggled at, this is still a good problem to have. We've renewed our last couple CDs, for 6 to 9 months at close to 4%. So.
Mhm.
Hearing none,
Which is good, because for all practical purposes, we're fully invested. And I think many of you might have read the article about Schenectady County wasn't. So I think we're in compliance with our investment policies, which is good.
Yeah, and M&T's been very good,
Yeah.
their thing, and collateralizing all of our maps.
Okay. So for the presentation and discussion of the budget, I'll turn it over to Dick, who is the chair of our finance committee as well as our treasurer.
Okay, I think there's been hard copies distributed too.
Yeah, just of the actual 2026 budget. There were other pages in that spreadsheet, but if I printed them out, none of us could probably read them, so. Yay, she did it. So we thought we would do it this way and it'd be helpful for the principal here.
Okay, we should focus on column 3 to 2026.
Yeah.
Right in the middle.
Yeah.
So
No, you got it. You had it
you had
right.
it was perfect.
This column, 2026, that's what it was, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
right there. First I want to thank Victoria and Kate and Ed for the work we've done and Al, especially Al, for the work we've done on the budget. We met, we debated, we went through everything and put it all together after a few iterations and worked with Kate, Al, and Victoria. We have a 2026 budget. If we walk through it, in the revenues, the only one we really have for sure are the annual fees of 13,000. Hopefully, we will get the 125, but really that's predicated on us improving the new agreement with the application with PSEG. We don't have right now a project or application fees, I don't think. But don't go back.
Sorry.
We budgeted 45,000 in interest income, which we think is pretty good, and we're happy with that. So we have budgeted revenues of 219,533. Any questions on the revenue side? No. Again, we've got work to do, but we go down to the expenses, contractual expenses with the town, insurance. Did we ever get a final quote? No. We've asked for a final, based upon our policy, we're supposed to get an update, and we've asked for a final quote. So we're still waiting, but they've said it's not going to be anything significant, and we asked them to define significant.
Right.
What?
Significant to whom?
Yeah, to whom?
Yeah.
The professional service contract, Kate, you just want to discuss briefly the increase we've got there?
Yeah, I'm going to preface for Kate. I asked her specifically to think hard about all of the additional tasks that she has been taking on over the past year, especially since, as our special counsel, she has been stepping into a role. We used to get Hodgson Russ to come in and give us updates. We've talked about this before, but because it is an increase, I want to remind the board that we have been asking her to do more. And now I'll turn it over to Kate to talk about that more.
Sure. So most of the increase is attributable to this is recording the marketing committee, and we're going to be doing the website over. There's going to be additional meetings that we're going to have to attend and minutes and all of that. And governance too, probably this fall we'll have at least probably one meeting, I would think, as we continue to look at our policies. Another change in the law, actually, which I don't even think I mentioned to Victoria yet. We have to change the website over to a .gov because the government, the feds pretty much are saying we want to be able to verify every local website that is connected to a governmental entity is legit. And so there's going to be a registry for that. And it's a little bit of a process, but in the context of doing our new webpage, we'll take care of that. There's going to be several RFPs. One, it will be, for the website. We discussed RFPs for a market study, communications, so there's a lot of additional drafting work. The good news is I now have my associate, Alexis, who I know some of you may have known from when she was in law school, but her admission is pending. So we'll have some help with that. I'm trying to think of what else. I think that's pretty much the gist of it, but the mark.
Just added technology too. Technology is a constant challenge, something like
Oh, yeah, that we've got to see what we're going to do with the email. I think we'll probably wind up with a different domain and make it easier. It's been clunky sometimes. Even Victoria, I thought it was me, but Victoria wasn't getting emails from our consultant. And so finally I picked up the phone and called and said, hey, what's going on? And they got back to us and said, oh, we sent that, or we didn't receive what you were sending. So there's a lot of administrative things coming up that we really need to fix. And the industrial study, that's the other piece of it. And Brianna will give an update on that. Once that concludes or gets close to concluding, there's sort of that next step and maybe the connection between the market study and the industrial piece of all of this. And I know that as a board, we started to discuss potential property acquisitions and different things that we'd be looking at. So, it's going to take a considerable amount of time. I budgeted another 15 hours to 20 hours a month. That's probably between all the meetings and all of that it's going to take. Brienne and I have been working some potential projects. We're not quite there yet to say anything, but potentially there'll be some more pilot applications. Probably not this year, but early next year, I would think. So, there's all of that coming up.
Just, well, thank you.
And plus I need help to do it all. So, we're adding, another attorney to that. And I also added another paralegal, so.
Just so that, if we look at Kate, what we pay Kate and what we, for the next item, the CFO, we're a small organization, but we have significant regulatory compliance.
Mhm.
And fortunately, we're on top of the regulatory compliance, which is quite important for how we operate, because I don't think there's anything more important than making sure that what we do is in proper sequence and order. And we have our reports filed on time. We have our information done on time. Kate and Victoria were leaders in the community, even though we're a small IDA. And I think it's important that as we go forward, we continue that. Any questions for? Okay. And the next one is the CFO. I think we're well served with Al personally. The next fee is our audit. Again, our audit is fine. We have no issues, and it's done timely. We get everything filed without extension, and everything works out, which is good. The marketing and promotion, that was I guess that was new last year. That's that isn't that the
I'm not sure this is the most updated, because the one I have, and maybe it was the last one that Al sent, has the marketing. I asked for
There's
30.
There's another line item down here.
Oh, okay. I'm
the
sorry.
marketing promotion.
I was looking
That,
for it. Yeah.
that's the contractor we approved during last year, isn't it?
No, the 30,000.
No, 15,450.
Is that for the,
Is that-
So, yeah, so what we did was, I asked for a total of, I think, 50 to 60,000, because we weren't sure with the market study and that cost, that's the big question mark. So we put 15,450 into, I think, website and marketing and social media, whatever we need. And then we took the 30,000 for the
But
study.
the 15,450 was what we approved during this year or last year about the subcontractor that we use for our,
Melissa.
Okay, it doesn't quite cost that much. That's why I was thrown
Okay, I
off
don't
by
know.
it. That's all. But those two lines combined are what would be the marketing budget that we're proposing.
the professional service contract other, I think is just a placeholder.
Yep.
In case we need some professional fees. Really nothing allocated or encumbered or no. In the past few years, we haven't spent that at all, I don't believe.
No,
Actually, in the past few years, Kate you've done that work. Supplies, materials, nothing, marketing, promotion idea, you want to talk about that briefly?
yeah, that was the 30,000
Yeah.
that was sort of for the market study in addition to the 15,000. So that could, after RFP, depending upon what we want to do, come in higher, but we just weren't sure. So,
That's the marketing committee asked.
yeah,
Okay. Conference fees, travel, membership. CEG membership is gonna be 25 and change, and that's now bundled with a membership to the Albany Regional Chamber of Commerce. So we're now members of both.
At the same cost.
yeah.
the
Dick
same
arranged that for us, and I'm grateful. Thank you.
And Mark was very happy to accommodate us because now we're into his statistics in November. So we're now members of the regional chamber, which is good. Bethlehem Chamber, QuickBooks, there's nothing much there. Nothing much there. I know what the other operating expenses, do we know what that is? I don't-
Oh, okay. So now this is making more sense. Now I'm remembering. So the business and economic development services, the 40,000 was for the market study. And the 30 plus the 15 was for, website and events and possibly social media outreach for the industrial study.
And the 40,000 is just it's a continuous carryover
Yeah,
of what we budgeted in the past, which we haven't expended. So that brings total expenditures of 325. And next line. And we budgeted a use of our fund balance, which is significant of 105,962. So what we're doing is we anticipate using our fund balance to further the economic development activities of the town. Okay, so that's the budget. Any questions?
Furthering the economic development activities of the town as the use of fund balance, and I've been on the board longer than the other members. Al, of course, has been with us for a long time, and it's really great over the past few years, the hard work of the board, the opportunities we've been able to bring into the town for which we've received fees mean that when we have an operating deficit and we're using fund balance, it's no longer for operating expenditures. It is to bring additional benefits to the town, and I really want to take a moment and recognize that. We've come a very long way through a lot of hard work in the past few years.
Okay,
So the 3% proposed increase, where did the 3% come from? Is it just standard COLA?
just to tell you the truth, Victor, we just did it. Okay, we figured we'd increase it a little bit. I think there really is no study to it. We could have kept it flat. We could have gone 5%. We decided 3%. There's no magic to it.
Yeah, and the reason why I asked that question is you have budget lines there that are not COLA sensitive, but yet are growing by the COLA. So certain things like memberships I would assume would remain flat over the next 2 years. Didn't know if you looked at previous past increases and if future increases kind of matched the past. And then also our lines project sensitive. So if we have kind of like the inventory, being completed in 2027, does that mean 2028 now decreases that by that amount because we're no longer carrying that project?
Yeah, part of the, I'll jump in and answer this because I've been doing this for a long time. And it's part of the challenge is they want us to go out 2 or 3 or 4 years. That probably makes sense if you're reporting like a power plant down by the city or up. For us, it's a little, it's kind of silly in some respects. So we have to report not only what we think we're going to do in 2026, but 27, 28, maybe 29. And so a lot of times the numbers are just carryovers. And the reality is when 2027 comes, fall of 2026, this board will be sitting down looking at what projects are going on and what the spending is, and the numbers might be rather good. But we're working under the same template as the power authority or local governments in some things. Sometimes the line items, when you go out in the future, look a little silly.
It's a Paris requirement to project.
Yeah.
So we're just putting 3%, we picked 3% to project because it's all, I don't want to say fuzzy math, but
Right.
like, that's what it is. And it's
that's
not,
kind of my point.
it's
How
not real.
are these numbers?
it's not real until we, in 2027, say, okay, we know exactly what our budget is, like we're doing now. And then you also can amend in Paris if there was a reason to. But Brian, if you go to the aggregate in Paris form, and Victoria, that's what she on the bottom there, she wanted you to see, it's a little bit different what we have to report in Paris. And, it takes it out, to 27 and beyond, 28, because I think it's 4 years
4 years,
total?
yeah.
Yeah.
Once again, certain
Yeah.
agencies that are reporting Paris, it makes sense. They're handling billions, and ours is more of a, what if things change or don't change?
And if you go back over, Paris asks, doesn't quite match what they ask for and what we actually budget. That left-hand column is what they're asking us to report.
Right.
So we, do our best to pull accurate numbers based upon that schedule that they're asking for. So,
But I can also say that, Victor, that this is a plan. Some of this stuff, like I mentioned, that we budgeted, it's carryover. We budgeted from the prior year. We didn't expend it in business economic services. But I can honestly say that we're going to be fiscally responsible. Okay, right? So if we budgeted 3%, for something that doesn't, we'll see what happens. I'm not worried about $360.50 versus $350. That doesn't, that isn't really the things that we concern ourselves about. And we go out for, any of these things that are significant, we've discussed at the board level and voted on. So, I think that's the most important thing, and that we follow our investment policy.
Thank you.
The other thing, we don't levy a tax on anybody based on what we're thinking we're going to spend. Not that should matter, but we're pretty accurate for next year. What we're telling Mike in a year or 2 or 3 down the road is subject to change.
I got to be alive.
Have faith, Dick.
you've been saying that for 3 years.
Well,
You're still here.
it's good.
So it works.
I know.
It's all that gym work at the
This morning, I
club.
was there this morning. Yeah.
All right,
Place is sacred.
Okay, do we need a motion?
we do.
Do we have a motion? We have a motion, right?
You got to put it on the table.
Okay,
A motion to adopt the budget as presented.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor of adopting the budget as presented? Aye. Are there any abstentions or nays? All right, thank you. The budget for 2026 passes with all 6 members present, unanimous. Thank you.
And
thank
thank you for your hard work.
Okay,
We do have
So-
Silver Road with us.
yes, let's take just a moment and go over the minutes. So we get that out of the way. The minutes from June 25th, 2025 circulated. I think there were some very minor edits and corrections that have been implemented. Any questions or additional edits on the minutes from June?
Detailed.
Right. So I, for one, am happy with the bullet points. Okay, I will accept a motion to adopt the June minutes. Okay, thank you. We have a motion and a second. All in favor of adopting the June 2025 minutes? Aye. Any abstentions or nays? Okay, thank you. All 6 members present unanimously approved the minutes for June of 2025. And then that moves us to item number 7, our project, because we do have guests to talk about the application before us. Technically, GB2 New York LLC is the name of the applicant. Our regulars, God bless you, will have heard us refer to the project as PSEG, the former name when we first engaged with this electrical generation plant some number of years ago, and also may have heard it referred to as Bethlehem Energy because it is an electrical producing facility. So I will turn it over to Kate. You have been working with Silverlode and inviting Matt from Barclay Damon here.
Sure. So I am going to take Silverlode off mute so I can introduce them here in a second. So one of our requirements when we review payment in lieu of taxes application is to perform a cost benefit analysis. I included that in.
Try to put her up here.
Okay, I don't know. I don't think it works with this. I think we've tried it in the past.
Even with the adapter.
No.
Okay,
no.
that's fine.
I did print out copies, but yeah, right. Well, technically, this is what Chris was talking about. It's all disjointed. Like you can only do certain things on here and it doesn't sync to this. So it's a little bit crazy. Anyway, back to the cost benefit economic impact analysis for the Bethlehem Energy Center. So as part of your review of the application and the legal requirement, we have to perform this study. And as you know, you approved the RFP to hire Silverlode to do that for you. They've produced if anyone wants a paper copy, I've got an extra one in there and in this agenda. The economic impact analysis, and I'm going to introduce them and have them just walk you quickly through the highlights of that. And if you have any questions about the impact analysis, you certainly can ask as well. So we have Drew and who else do we have today? You want to go ahead and introduce yourselves?
Yes, good morning. I'm Dennis McAndrew. I'm the founder and president of Silverlode Consulting.
Hello, I'm Michelle Mall. Worked with Dennis on this economic impact study. I'm a senior consultant at Silverlode Consulting.
Before we go on, what is everyone looking at? Are folks, do they see the presentation, or if I screen share, will folks have the ability to see my screen share?
We actually have it up on a different screen because this particular setup with the video, I can't connect it to the TV here. So it is.
Like
it
the
is.
report, is that okay?
It is up for them here. So, and they have paper copies.
Do you have the ability to share the presentation, or should I? I think you're looking at the report.
I think you really have to share. The other file was the presentation. There's 2 from them.
Okay.
Can you just log into the meeting? They can share it. If she's
Oh,
connected,
yeah,
she can
maybe
log
if you log into the Zoom link.
Okay, I'll try to do that.
Okay.
Well, maybe while we're waiting to get the presentation up, we'll give you a little head start on the discussion.
Okay.
Unless you think this will just take a second, and we'll just hold.
I don't have my IDA email on here, so.
While we're working on the technology, Dennis, this is the first time the Bethlehem IDA has engaged an outside consultant to perform this analysis. So while everyone was part of the decision to select you, if you want to take a minute, talk about what you do in very general terms and the services that you provide and who Silverload is, I think that would be helpful to the members.
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you very much, everyone, for engaging us to work with you, especially since it's your first economic impact analysis for a project. So we appreciate the opportunity to be part of your team, at least for this project. Just real quick, Michelle and I are with Silverload Consulting. We're located in Cleveland, Ohio. We've been doing economic impact modeling. So our company, I founded the company in 2002, so we're in our, what would that make us, 23rd year or so. We've been doing economic impact modeling for our entire existence as Silverload Consulting, but then I also, prior to starting Silverload, was in, and Michelle was as well, in big accounting and consulting. So we were doing economic impact analysis while we were at Ernst & Young and PricewaterhouseCoopers. We do economic impact modeling for a variety of different applications. We do a lot of large, complex health systems, organizations like the Cleveland Clinic and University of Kansas Health System. We do it for economic development organizations. We do them for large infrastructure projects, whether it be highway projects, renewable energy projects, more traditional energy projects like this one. So we've been doing economic impact analysis for a long time. The tool that we use typically, and that we used for this application, when I say typically, I mean almost every economic impact analysis that we use an application called IMPLAN, IMPLAN. For those of you who aren't familiar with it, it's a application that was created by the U.S. Forest Service over 40 years ago now. And it's arguably, or probably, that probably understates it, it's essentially the gold standard of economic impact modeling. There's other models out there, but this one's in use by thousands of government agencies, universities, consultants like ourselves. So it's a widely regarded, widely respected methodology. How are we doing,
right.
Kath? I can't see what's
We
on
got,
presentation.
we got the presentation up on our screen.
Oh,
So
can I screen share and kind of move us through the slides, or do you want to?
I don't think that's the limitation on the technology. We don't have the ability to do that.
All right. Well, why don't, are you on the today's agenda slide? Overview of this report.
We're on
Sure.
today's agenda.
That's perfect. I can see what's on your screen, and then I can keep along. Yeah, that's great. Thank you. So we could spend an hour going through this presentation, or we could get through it in 10 to 15 minutes. Our expectation is you guys would like the 10-15-minute version. And
the 10-minute version is great.
Okay, that's got it. All right. Well, so what we'll do is we'll move through it quickly, and then if anyone has a question, just stop us, and we'll elaborate as necessary. So I think we did the Silverload introduction pretty well. We're going to talk a little bit about IMPLAN. We already did that. We'll talk about what we the various ways we sort of parsed the analysis, and then we'll talk about the two geographic levels that we analyzed. So on the overview of the report slide, the couple things to note here on this slide are that we we analyzed the project, first of all, from two geographic perspectives. One, the town of Bethlehem, and you'll notice the footnote 1 there, and I'll get back to that in a second, and on the geography of Albany County. So the footnote on the town of Bethlehem level is that in-plan data is available for a variety of different geographies, states, counties. Unfortunately, it's not available for municipalities. And so we created a region of zip codes that are noted at the bottom of the slide that overlap pretty closely with the boundaries of the town of Bethlehem. So it's just wanted to note that slight difference there. I think that's pretty well the good takeaway from that slide. I want to move on to the next one. So the things that we analyzed here that you'll see in the report, one is the economic impact of the Bethlehem Energy Center's operations as they are today. So the folks that are employed there, the economic activity that occurs there, and we projected that out for a number of years. So that's sort of the ongoing, repeating year after year economic impact of the energy center. And then we modeled 2 scenarios, and again, we did all of these at 2 geographies, Bethlehem and Albany. One key thing to keep in mind is the wider the geographic frame that you're looking at, the bigger the impacts get. So the impacts at the county level would be bigger than the ones at the Bethlehem level. And if we had done it at the state or the federal level, as you move up in size of geography, obviously the impacts get a little bit bigger. So for this presentation, we'll focus on Bethlehem, since you guys are the Bethlehem Industrial Development Authority versus the Albany County one. So we'll focus on those, although we've provided the Albany ones as well. So again, the operations of the facility and 2 capital investment scenarios. One being the major maintenance one, where $37.1 million is invested in capital improvements between 25 and 29. And then the second one, which takes that scenario and adds to it the advanced gas path AGP investment, which adds about another 54.5 million between 26 and 27. So we'll go ahead and advance. So just a real quick 101 on economic impact analysis. Economic impact can be divided into 3 categories: direct, indirect, and induced. And for those who aren't already initiated into the world of economic impact analysis, direct is actual activity occurring, in this case, at the project site. So the direct impacts of the energy center are the people that work there, the economic output of the facility, the taxes that are being generated actually at the site. Also considered part of the direct, obviously, is the construction event. So you've got the major maintenance and you've got the AGP investments. The construction workers that are actually working at the site, they're considered the direct. But then that activity, of course, ripples through the economy, and this is the crux of what this engagement was aimed at identifying. You've got, the Bethlehem Energy Center buys goods and services from local businesses. The construction firms that will ultimately work on the site will buy goods and services from local businesses, and those. The economic activity, the jobs that are supported, the payroll that's supported by that business to business activity is called indirect. And those folks, whether they work at Energy Center or they work at the construction firm, they then go out in the community, they buy automobiles and groceries, etc. That household spending impact is called induced. So on the slides that follow, and I think we can move on to the next one. And again, this is a little bit about in-plan. I think we covered that pretty well. So what you're seeing here, and you'll note lots of different ways that the analysis is sliced and diced geographically, permanent, ongoing, major maintenance, AGP. The slice that we're looking at right here is the economic impacts year to year of the annual operations of the energy center at the level of the town of Bethlehem. So you see the direct activity there under the direct column, add to it the indirect and induced, and you get to the total economic impacts. again, these are annual economic impacts. And then the taxes itemized are in the table below. So there's roughly 35 people that are, for instance, roughly 35 people that are employed at the Energy Center. That was the economic activity that occurs there then supports within the town of Bethlehem an estimated 13 jobs. So folks that are buying or rather that are selling a good or service to the Energy Center, their livelihoods rely on the Energy Center. And you can see, the economic impact divided into economic output, which is the total sort of revenue of the businesses that are affected, gross regional product, which is the economic value added. So it's that revenue minus costs. So how much economic benefit is added through the processing of goods and services. Jobs, of course, those are pretty self-explanatory. Earnings are the labor income associated with those jobs, including benefits. And then state and local taxes, which I think is fairly self-explanatory. And that, of course, the direct state and local taxes are itemized in the table below. So why don't I pause for a second? Does anyone have any questions before we flip to the next slice?
No.
All right. Next slice is what we've done here is take the major maintenance project standalone. So this doesn't include the operating activities of the Energy Center. It doesn't yet include the AGP. Same analysis, only whereas on the prior slide it was an annual analysis, this is a cumulative analysis over the time frame of that investment, the time frame being 2025 through 2029. So what you see there is, of course, the total activity associated with the construction event, roughly 89, and you'll note the difference in terms. On the prior slide, we said jobs. In this case, we say job years. So it's the equivalent of 89 folks working for 1 year, or roughly 1/5 of that number working annually over the time frame of this investment. So you can see this major maintenance event adds, again, at the town of Bethlehem level, about $20 million of economic activity. It supports 95 job years of total labor, $10 million of earnings. We flip to the next one. This one then takes what we called scenario 2. So this is the scenario 1 being the major maintenance events, scenario 2 being the more expansive investment at the facility, where you're adding the major maintenance event plus the advanced gas tap AGP analysis. So you're looking at the same analysis for that construction reinvestment event. Let's go ahead, Catherine. So on this slide, what you're seeing, just differentiate what we saw in prior slides from this one. Again, the operating events were annual. The construction events were cumulative over the time frame of those construction events. And then what you're seeing on this slide, again, at the town of Bethlehem level, these are the total economic impacts over the time frame of over the 12-year time frame of the pilot arrangement. So these are, and this obviously doesn't itemize it between direct, indirect, induced, et cetera. What you're seeing here is the total. So the rightmost number from the prior tables, again, for the 12-year period from 2025 through 2026. And this is just for the BEC operations and major maintenance. We haven't yet got to the HEP event. On the next slide, same analysis. This one just adds the AGP. So obviously, all the numbers get quite a bit bigger when you add in the large AGP investment. Next slide, please, Catherine. This one simply presents the tax implications of the various options on the table, the two different bars representing, and the two different lines for that matter, representing scenarios 1 and 2. Obviously, scenario 1 in the darker blue, scenario 2 in the lighter blue. And this is over the time frame of the pilot. So the line represents obviously the pilots. The bars represent total tax generation. How about the next slide? And then on this rather detailed table, this presents the economic impacts in sort of maximum detail. This is each year of the pilot split out into the various different streams of economic activity. Operations at the left, you add to it the major maintenance. We're in scenario 1 here where we're just looking at the major maintenance. We haven't layered on the AGP event yet, so the AGPs are all blank. But when you total everything together, you can see it year by year. And by the way, these tables are all in the report. So this is scenario 1. We advance. And then, of course, scenario 2, difference being that AGP has been layered in. You can see the center columns have been populated with the AGP investment numbers. And this is the total year-by-year economic activity associated with sort of everything that's on the table, the annual operations, the major maintenance, plus the AGP. The next 6 or so slides are Albany County, and in the interest of time, I won't go through them unless, because they're the exact same slides as we had just walked through for Bethlehem. These are for Albany County. Of course, the key takeaway is all these numbers are a little bit bigger than Bethlehem because you're looking at a different geographic area. Anyone have questions about what we've presented or our approach? Anybody want to see any of the Albany County results?
No, I think we're good. All right. Well, thank you very much. Yep.
Thank you all. Appreciate the opportunity to work with you, and have a great day.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Good
Bye all.
Bye.
So I know some of you, this is your first look at what an economic impact analysis is. And I'm sorry, Victor had to go too, because I think he would have. So normally this is used in, analyzing whether to approve the pilot or not, whether it makes economic sense. And normally you would compare that to return on investment and the, how big the pilot is versus the economic impact. But one thing I just wanted to point out on the record that's different about this pilot, and I think you all know this fact, is that the pilot is designed to actually pay more than the taxes would be if they were paying it at the actual assessed rate right now. So it's a little different in that, we're getting more taxes than we would, as part of all of this. So normally there would be a tax break given versus they're paying more than they actually have to. So I just wanted to point that out, that's a nice benefit.
Yeah. Well, I'd absolutely add to that because I do these kinds of analyses elsewhere, not in Bethlehem, obviously. And one of the aspects that other IDAs look at is, well, what are the benefits? What are the net new tax revenue versus if the project didn't come in? And so as Kate explained, this is a pilot, as we know, where the proposal is to pay more than the taxes would be on the current assessed value. So you typically see someone coming in because they want savings. But what I also see all the time is a project owner applying to an agency and they say, it's not just that I want my taxes reduced, I want more certainty. I want stability. I want to be able to plan. And from the moment we met with the Bethlehem Energy people, it was really clear that they wanted to make a commitment to this project. There's a lot of uncertainty. And so they asked if we could help them manage by providing much more certainty on this important line item. And so maybe that's a little bit stronger here than, if we were looking at, a mixed-use facility in the southern part of the state. But it's always important, the stability that you can get with the pilot, and much more so here.
I think maybe you could also say is that this project has a positive economic impact for every resident of the town of Bethlehem.
Thanks for stating the obvious.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely, right.
You're welcome.
Yeah, okay. So Matt is here if there's any questions. I don't know, Matt, if you need to say anything or you.
I don't need 15
Okay.
minutes to say I agree.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, the company is very much looking forward to getting this done so it can make those investment decisions and move forward with the contracts for these projects. So it's they very much appreciate the time and effort that this board and your consultants have put into this. And it's excited to move forward.
Okay.
And I think everybody's had it, or most everybody, I think, has had a tour of the plant. And when you got it, it's really, it's for someone like me, it's like Star Wars. And they seem to be on top of everything. Really well run. It's kind of an asset, I think, not only to the town, but to the county and the area.
So you'll see on the agenda, the action item for today is if you'd like to move the pilot to the next step in the process, we do have to hold a public hearing. And that resolution was attached to the agenda. And if you were to approve it, we would try to get that public hearing scheduled probably in the next 3 to 4 weeks tops. So that at least we could have October, November to do any final approvals we need. And if the company wants to close by the end of the year, it would give us time to do that. We're really on your schedule. I mean, I don't think it matters much to us if we close by the end of the year, but I think they would want to, right?
Yeah, I think they're looking to put it in the book, and if we can get that public hearing in before the October 22 meeting, I think that'd be great so that we can advance the process, get the drafting and the closing.
Yeah, because what would happen is in October, you'd have the seeker resolution, and then once you approve that, it would be followed by the approving resolution. And then, we can be teed up to get that closed. So right now, I need a motion to move the process forward to conduct a public hearing and for the approval of this resolution.
So move.
Second.
All in favor of moving this to a public hearing?
Aye.
Any abstentions or nays? Okay. That's all 5 members who are still, all. Wait,
4, yes. 2,
Five.
okay, yeah.
Five.
You're the CPA.
I didn't see Georgette. No. You're right.
All 5 members who are present approved this resolution. It passes unanimously with the present members. I will point out Victor had an excused absence that he let us know about, and he slipped quietly away, not to interrupt the meeting. So the motion passes. Kate, go ahead and schedule that public hearing. We do like members to be at the public hearing when possible. We don't take any vote. The board does not answer questions unless we choose to address a purely factual issue. The public hearing is not for discussion. It is literally so the public can be heard. The board has a tradition when we can of meeting immediately afterwards to go over in our own minds, taking no action, what we heard at the public hearing, and then we have a meeting. So this is definitely a way to learn what the community is thinking about, but not to engage in back and forth.
Are they usually in the evenings?
Yeah. Usually I try to start at like 4:30, but we certainly could do it later. But for the most part, a lot of folks don't attend. But we haven't done a pilot in quite a while too, so we'll have to see.
Okay, so going back through, since it's just 9 o'clock, and thank you all. We have the public hearing resolution, we have the budget.
It's just
Financial
reports.
report. Given the time, we do have an executive session, and I think that's very important that we take the time to do that. So Kate, having put the agenda together, what would you recommend for the next item to use our time well?
Well, I think Brianne and I could get through our reports relatively quickly,
Okay.
because I prefer to do the executive session at the end and just let folks go.
Sounds good.
So for the committee reports, governance had been meeting, and we were supposed to have a meeting yesterday, but we have to reschedule that. So I'm going to connect with Victor and come up with some future dates, probably one by the end of this year, and then some future for a calendar for next year. Same thing with marketing. I think we need to schedule at least one, if not two, by the end of the year, and then we'll come up with a 2026 schedule. So Chris, Brianne and I will connect with you. We already did the budget. So RFPs, we want to put one out for a website, which I think we certainly can do. Potentially a market study. I have to look at that more carefully. I've been talking to people and sort of researching online for a scope of work. And there's so much you could do with a market study. And, you know, the last thing I want to do is put out an RFP and have folks bid on something because they think they know what we want. So coming up with that scope of work might be the first step first. And then we can put that out as soon as we probably can. It may very well be for that RFP might not really go out until November, and it might not be due till like January 30th or something, you know, that gives enough time with the holiday and the end of the year.
So I want to pause there for just a minute, and for the people who've done this, sometimes an organization, instead of issuing an RFP with a very specific scope of work, can issue a request for qualifications and invite firms to come in and talk, and that opens a conversation. So, you know, anyone on the board who has familiarity with that kind of process, I certainly invite you to, you know, think about whether that works, and, you know, to share your thoughts with Kate about whether that's, and then we'll come back, but that might be a way to thread the needle.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was going to suggest, because we do have a couple of great firms here locally that could assist with that, and I think would be more than happy to come in and talk to us. So, but what I would like to do, it depends on our agendas. If we get in a time crunch and I've got to get the Bethlehem Energy Center, you know, teed up, and if we can get through that in October, the heavy lift, and we're just working on a closing, that's fine. So maybe this is more of a November meeting thing, just because I don't want anything to upset, you know, that meeting, and we've got to get work done. All right. So the other thing I wanted to ask was meeting dates for 2025 and 2026. I just wanted to point out October meeting is the regular fourth Wednesday, but there's a modified schedule for November and December because of the holidays. So you should have that list, but it's November 19th and December 17th. And because of the amount of business that we have to do, November is probably a go, so I really need a quorum. December, if we're good, we might just say, no, you know, we're not going to worry about it. We've done that in the past and not had one. For 2026, I wanted to make a suggestion or actually a request to a view. For a lot of reasons, the fourth Wednesday of the month is not exactly ideal for our meetings for a lot of reasons. First and foremost, you know, it doesn't give us really enough time if we had to not only schedule a special meeting on something after it, by the end of the month, if you're meeting at the end of a month, you're into that whole other, cycle again. Not only that, we're finding when people are going to the ESD conference and a couple other things, it always falls on the same week as our meeting. So it's tough to, get out of town or prepare for that and then, have a meeting and all of that. And the other thing I was going to mention too is we really need to look at the time, if 8:15 helps, I think we could all be amenable to moving it a little bit. But there was some other reasons too that I discussed with Victoria. I'm trying to remember exactly what it was, but.
The Paris reporting
Oh,
and
that's
the
right,
budget.
yeah, right.
We too often come down to the wire in spite of everyone's best efforts because of our deadlines.
First week, second week, or you both?
Well, we were thinking the first Wednesday, just because that would give us the time, like with the Paris report. And it was interesting. This year we were really ahead of it with the budget, but sometimes we wouldn't be. And so had we had this September meeting on the 28th or the 29th, Al's got literally 24 to 48 hours to post everything. So, that happens with my other IDEs all the time, is you run up against that and it's a pain. So if you moved it to the first, Al would have a couple weeks to do what he needs to do instead of, hoping that we can get it done and all of that. So there's just a lot of different reasons to do that. And, so I wanted to run that by you and see what your thoughts are on moving the meeting to the first Wednesday. And then, thinking about the time, the 8 a.m. time. Thoughts?
I just have to check my convention center authority meetings.
Okay.
Because those sometimes, and we are at the same time, 9 o'clock. But
Okay.
I have no way of getting there on time for me.
Okay.
So that's just mildly, not to share.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose if because you really can't miss either one
No.
and in any number. So I suppose
They're
we
trying
could
to give me a chair at that one, so I can't.
we could look at
Big
the second
chair.
week. Like, I'm not opposed to the second week, but I just think that we chose the first because it gave us the most time. So check that out and let me know. But is there any other concerns about moving it or?
There's no conflicts with the town calendar.
Okay.
That's great.
Okay.
And what about the Bethlehem Chamber? Do they meet on Fridays?
Yeah, that's
Yes.
the third Friday.
Yeah, so we used to have conflicts with the Bethlehem Chamber. Moving to Wednesday changed that. I'm certainly in favor of the 8:15 time, as you all know. But the 8 a.m. is a tradition because, years ago, there were some people who had to work in the evenings. But I think morning is still effective. We are more disciplined than some IDAs who don't then have to go to work after. But, asked, especially as the school bus schedules have changed.
All right, that's all I have that
Okay.
you can do your quick.
My brief update for all of you is just information from CPL and the site study. They have everything from us and have for some time, but because of our delayed timeline, August was not an available month for them to work on our project, but September is. So they have dove right back into it. They expect to have a full presentation for us at the October meeting. But I did want to just share sort of like the top 10. We had to narrow it down to like the top 10 sites that they're going to make recommendations on and look at site layout. So I have a few maps up here. This is like where Sabic is here and Owens Corning and West Yard Road, and then the rail yard comes through here. Here's West Yard Road. This is our sort of primary kind of lesser developed industrial area is already zoned industrial or light industrial. So these highlighted parcels, none of these are like listed for sale or anything. We've worked with property owners that are interested in participating in the site study. These are properties that are either undeveloped or underdeveloped. And the property owners are very interested to see what could come of the site study and are open to additional development on these different locations. So there are 5 different owners represented in these first like 8 sites, but this is where the bulk of them are in this industrial area off of West Yard Road. So Matt makes sense. Any questions on this particular one? We have 2 other outlier sites that are not in this area, so I have 2 other maps to show you.
I have a question. What
Yeah.
is the owner's level of,
Participation.
interest in participation? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's,
There were a number, like there's, as you can see along West Yard Road, there's many additional sites. These owners were not interested in participating because they either feel like they are utilizing their land and they don't want to develop it more. They do not want to sell it. They do not want another project that's not their own, or they want to preserve it. There's one that actually applied for a conservation easement after our conversation, even though they're in the industrial area. But there we go. It's their land to choose what they want to do. So the ones that have chosen to participate are interested in knowing, what could come forward. They're not actively trying to sell their property, but if there is a reason to, or there's a good project, or there are interested parties, they're open to it. Does that answer your question?
yeah, the reason why I asked is, we just had the CRE, Capital Region Economic Development Council hosted the CEG's annual strategic plan. And one of the things that they're looking for from the region is to highlight some of like what's happening in the different areas. And so they're looking for commentary or examples of different municipalities or organizations that are doing things like this. So I guess my question would be, would there, based upon what we have, and you're going to show us, an interest in sharing that with CEG so that it demonstrates that Bethlehem is open for business and we are working on identifying industrialized or industrial sites that could be ripe for development.
Depending on the timing of when they're looking for that information, we're going to have
They just want quotes.
a report. Oh,
They
yeah.
want quotes and examples.
Yeah. And CEG knows that we're doing this study, but maybe they just don't know.
Well, when I mentioned it to them, they were like, "Oh, really? We didn't know Bethlehem was doing it."
Yeah.
Well, the consultant, I should say.
Right, the consultant.
Maybe not CEG itself.
Yeah. But yeah, we can tell them we're doing this study. All of these property owners participated in conversations about it. They know the intent of it. They know who CPL is. They know why we're doing it. They know the IDA is hosting it. They understand the potential of their property. This is another site. So this is the very, like down through Selkirk, this is the very bottom boundary here of Bethlehem. This is 9W as we go down. So there's a large property here. This property is actually listed for sale. It's owned by a trust right now. The challenge with it is it's fairly constrained with some wetlands. And so CPL is trying to see if there is a way to mitigate some of that, work around it. There is an industrial site here that's already developed. And so there's some shared access potential and things like that. If this site is too constrained by wetlands, they're going to switch to this alternate site for number 9. And then number 10, again, in a totally different part of town. Here's Beacon Island, reorienting you to where we are. Here's our, let's remember, so just across here from kind of the port area is this larger parcel. This is River Road and Retreat House Road. It's in between those two. There has before been an early site proposal of about 12 warehouses outlined on this parcel in like a warehouse district. It did not move forward. It's just undeveloped right now. This is like when you drive down this area, this is where all the school buses park, this little tip right here. So once you go past that, where all the school buses park, sometimes there's a little bit of construction layout. I think they rent out the front of it sometimes for people to use as a lay down yard. But outside of that, undeveloped. So that's site number 10. We wanted to pick a couple of other different areas of town besides the West Yard Road. And of course, we did not include anything in Vista because that's already been, there's already, everything that CPL is doing for us with these sites has already been done for Vista. But that is part of our Bethlehem inventory. Once we come out of this, we still have that inventory that we can share, market, and put forth to people. So, yeah. All right. I'm excited to see what they have to tell us.
So they're on the agenda for the next meeting. CPL will be here in October. So again, busy October. Hopefully everybody can make it.
We want those cookies.
You gotta keep it fast.
Thank you, Brianne. You trod fairly lightly over, these are landowners who are interested, they participated. I am sure that there was a great deal of effort that you put forth in addition to the CPL team. And I want to thank you to have this many parcel owners participate in a study and be open to ideas in the town of Bethlehem is absolutely terrific. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I met with maybe twice as many as these top 10. So
Well, it's 50%. It's a big batting average.
yeah, I think we did good.
Okay. So that takes us through all of our agenda items, I think.
To executive session.
And so we want to close out the meeting with an executive session from which we will then adjourn the meeting entirely. So I will ask our guests to leave. You're free to go.
You're free to stay.
No, you're not free to stay. Thank you for being here. Matt, thank you for staying for the whole meeting.
Yeah, it was great.
We're asking Kate to stay. This is the nature of the reason we're calling for the session. We definitely want her input.
Thank you all. See ya.
I thought I wasn't sure.
That's okay.
Do we need to officially vote to go into executive session?
Yeah, we should. Go ahead.
I'll take a motion to go into executive session to discuss personnel issues.
I'll second that motion. Okay. And all in favor of going into executive session to discuss personnel issues?
Aye.
Aye. Any abstaining or nays? Okay, the motion passes to go into executive session to discuss personnel issues at 9:16 a.m. on Wednesday, September 10th.
I would have liked to have had the other board members here.
Did you stop recording?
Yeah, I will.
Are we going to turn it on again to adjourn the formal meeting?
Yeah.
Welcome back to the September 10th. It's still September 10th meeting of the Bethlehem IDA. We still have a quorum of 5 members, and Kate, our executive director, and her associate Alexis are still here with us. During the executive session, the board members decided that we were going to take action on a specific issue, and we will be passing a resolution to that effect. The action that the board decided we want to take is recognizing that an application came into this organization in January. The board acted to approve a splitter with the pilot, and as is her job, our counsel, Kate Hedgeman, as agency counsel, diligently conducted all of the work necessary to bring that transaction to a close. The transaction is not actually going to close. The result is that the agency, which normally is able to collect our fees up front, we have received neither the $3,500 application fee, which is due to the agency, nor has the Hedgeman Law Firm been paid for the work conducted on the agency's behalf. Efforts have been made to obtain those fees, recognizing the how unlikely it is that specifically the cost incurred by the Hedgeman Law Firm is going to be reimbursed by the applicant as it should be. The board has decided that we will take unused money from our $7,500 special counsel budget for 2025 and allocate, it's an estimated $3,500, but not more than $7,500 to the Hedgeman Law Firm. So the resolution, in fewer words, is that the board votes to pay the fees incurred on our behalf by the Hedgeman Law Firm for the transaction that didn't close, and we're using the line item from the special counsel budget.
And
Yes.
the board is going to try to collect both the
Yes,
fee to Kate
Mhm.
and the administrative fee from the applicant.
yes.
So
Is that the motion you're making?
Yes.
I'll second.
Who made it?
Or
Okay.
Five
We're
people
all in
made the
agreement.
motion, 5 people seconded.
And I'm
All in
okay.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. So all 5 members approve. We will make Hedgeman Law Firm whole, and we will continue more formally to try to obtain the fee and counsel fee that we are owed.
Just adjournment.
I'm happy to make a motion to adjourn.
Similar thing.
All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye. This meeting is adjourned at 10:01 a.m. Thank you all.
Maybe if we're lucky, we off?
Oh, yeah.